you actually led that into two next questions. I don't know, how can you read my questions here? Because the questions the two next questions which came was about, does it make sense to rebuild regional and national industries, given how long it's going to take, given the practicality of it, given the cost of production and cost of the goods produced? And the second thing is, okay, we are having the industries back in our shores, back in the developed countries, and we have robotization. We have artificial intelligence. So we are on completely different technological footing with that. Now, how many people will actually find employment in the super high-tech manufacturing process that is being done almost on its own? So you see, those two questions are kind of feeding right into what you said, but I think that it's very, very important. And how intense will be this technological train? And we know also, that's from my studies, that roughly half of the population of every country will not go on that technological train fast enough to reap the top benefits out of it. Not everyone is technology savvy. Not everyone will be able to keep up with it. So what to do with it? What will be the social cost of it? And I think we have to look at it from the perspective of sustainable social cost, and how to help the segment of the population that will not be able to take part in the creation of this new technologically advanced goods done by superbly advanced tools, but they are the consumers. They are the consumers who actually need to buy the product and need to make a living at the same time, somehow balance this out. So what are we going to do about that?
I can start with the first question, which is easier than the second one.
Okay.
I think, does it make sense? I think that it depends on costs and benefits, and perhaps it's important to, and Ottaviano was alluding to this in his previous answer. There are different dimensions to it. One is the private sector dimension. The private sector will respond to the incentives, the costs and benefits that they perceive, and if there is if concentrating the suppliers in one area of the world is perceived as too risky, for their business they will definitely take into account this and move back some, or at least create some diversification, create some sort of redundancies, to make sure that the production can go on smoothly. So, and in a more broader sense, if it depends also, as I tried to show in my last slide, on policy. If governments will really make very strong efforts to change these decisions, but to make this, governments have to sustain subsidies and this would involve a sum of resources that I don't think it is doable, at least for a large number of sectors. So it would be most likely concentrated in a few firms. But if bearing some big, much higher intensification of the geopolitical tensions, I think this. The short answer to the question, does it make sense, is no. I mean, what it makes sense is to do it in the most efficient way, taking into account risks as discussed. On the issue of jobs, this is a centuries-old question.
Yes.
We can say. I mean, technology. The discussion about technology and jobs has been around for several centuries, and I mean, so far the the fears have not materialized, at least in the way that was perceived. No, I mean, wiping out every single job in every sector, etc. So I think that robotization has its limits, artificial intelligence has its limits. But having said that, yeah, this is the challenge for the world. I cannot. Maybe Ottaviano has more fresh thinking about this, but I cannot think of the usual suspects. No, I mean skills, a lot of training, a lot of education, a lot of rethinking of education, and this has been discussed in several fora, thinking about how to really respond to this challenge. But
Yeah, I don't want to go into education this time because it seems to be only we changing education at the very top, forgetting that it has to be changed on the bottom first. Otherwise, we are swimming in the clouds.
Margaret, if I may, just complimenting
please.
On the say what we've been discussing is no chance for those still thinking, dreaming of, well, it's a renewal of import substitution. Let's erect it's costly for whoever does it. So think twice before trying to piggyback on this discussion and on this situation to come back again with protectionist policies, because those who do it will bear the cost. On the second issue of the technology, and Zaghi mentioned how this has been for centuries. The Luddites, remember, in England during the first industrial revolution, how the Luddites came and threw the machines into the river as if the culprit was the machines, fetishism.
Mm-hmm.
And then despite the prejudice, the owners, the manufacturers replaced the machines, and everything was back there.
Yeah.
To some extent, this challenge, your question alluded to, is one of the mankind challenges, regardless of globalization and so on.
Yes.
I know of a project. I'm not. I don't have the knowledge on where it is, but I learned some of the details of a shoe factory in Atlanta, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
Using 3D printing to produce shoes.
Yes.
And the beauty of it is the following. You send them a picture of your feet,
Mm-hmm.
and they produce a shoe that is perfectly adapted to your feet.
Yeah, you scan basically. They do it and up to a perfect scan of your foot. Yes.
That's right.
Walkable shoes.
and of course, so this is tends to be, except for aspects of design, I don't know, material and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is shoes was, at least it still is to some extent, one of those sectors where, let's say, the fear of losing competitiveness by developing countries
Mm-hmm.
was less so. Vietnam is booming. Vietnam and Cambodia, and low price shoes and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But if the technological change is able to threaten even this, it's terrible. It's terrifying. But it's broader the issue. What the humanity, what humankind will do in order to avoid that, let's say, a substantial part of the labor force being simply be made superfluous by automation. And then we have a divided camp, those where the other jobs will be created. But definitely the new jobs being created they will be much more intensive in knowledge and education than in the past. So
Yes.
there has to be the reskilling and the importance of public policies regarding education will be more than ever to answer your question. Otherwise, it may really in some become a nightmare.
Yes. Well, the next.
Yeah, Aldous Huxley.
Yes.